Hi, everybody. Gabriel Miguel here, and this is the Ringing Cedars Anastasia Foundation podcast. Honestly, haven't come up with a good name for it, but today this is going to be the beginning of a series of videos that I'd like to continue doing. Kinsdomain interviews. I want to talk with people who are actually living their life on their land, people who have experiences and thoughts and ideas to share, because I think it's important for us to hear about the real life stories of people living on their land. And today I have a very special guest for our first interview. I'm proud to say she's my good friend Galina, and she spoke at the Freedom and Co-Creation event that we did in August with her husband Vadim. Was very well received, and Galina and her husband, they live on the most northern Kinsdomain settlement in Russia. Galina, how do you say that in English? I don't want to butcher this pronunciation. What's the name of your settlement?
Like pronounce it in Russian.
Or in English or Russian or?
No, okay. English version would be Karelskoe Zalesie. That's it.
Uh-huh. Okay. That means Karelia something, huh?
Karelia, yes. Russia is divided into regions. Particularly, this one is the Republic of Karelia. Just it
I see.
depends. The Republic of Karelia. That's why Karelskoe Zalesie. We can, by the way, divide this word Zalesie because les in Russian that's forest, and za lesam it means behind the forest. And in nearby we have a huge lake. Really, it's huge. It's called Onega Lake, and I don't know, maybe it's the second biggest lake in Europe, something like that. So it's huge.
Wow.
And we have a very big village near it, and there is a forest like les, and we are behind the lesam. That's why it's called. That's the name of the village, the current village, Zalesie, and we are Karelskoe Zalesie because we are in Karelia, Republic of Karelia. Just for everybody to understand somehow, it's something close to Finland. Actually, we are not so close to it, but just for you to, if you know Norway, Finland, it's somewhere in this direction, just to let everybody know.
Got it.
Because
right.
Sometimes people only know like Siberia, and that's all. Okay, Moscow, something, Siberia. If somehow you may open the card and see Finland, Norway, and somewhere will be Karelia.
It's very north. It's the most northern Kinsdomain settlement in Russia, apparently, and it's the only one in the Republic that you are in. It's north of St. Petersburg. Galina is an online English teacher. Her and her husband, they have 2 kids. They have a third on the way, which is just beautiful. I'm sure she'll share more about that. Galina's husband, Vadim, he started the settlement where they live 15 years ago, and Galina joined him later. He's a blogger, and I think if I understand this correctly, I think you told me before that he was the first Ringing Cedars blogger, and he is apparently the largest still, with the biggest audience. He's created and directed 2 films about Russian Kinsdomains, 2 films in 9 parts. He's written several books about the Ringing Cedars of Russia, and Galina is the main support and inspiration and partner and everything that he does. And so they run a traditional education camp. And making the home and all these beautiful things. And you guys run this wonderful camp for boys and girls where the boys will learn how to defend themselves. They learn sports, they learn folk games, singing, dancing, and all these wonderful things. And the girls learn the basics of sewing, weaving, gathering herbs, cooking, folk singing, and dancing. And you guys do quite a lot. You've been building your domain. Specifically, Vadim was there before you, but you joined, and you've been there for 3 years. And anyway, we'll talk more about that. But first of all, welcome, and thank you for being here, Galina. I'm very happy to have you.
Thank you for inviting. It's a pleasure for me to talk to. If I somehow may help somebody or answer any questions you have, just you're very welcome to write me. Just you may share my email.
Mm-hmm. And you're on Telegram too. You're part of our group.
I'm a part of a group, but you know, there are so many. I got lost. Just I'm there, but
yeah. There's
sorry,
it's too much. But maybe people can message you if you're comfortable on Telegram. We have a big group.
Yes,
it's
yes.
a little too much. Wonderful. So I wanted to start this off by saying that Galina has been living her life, but we want to share that her experiences are her experiences, and they are unique to her, and they are not a definitive experience that everyone will have, or that it is the quote unquote right way to live or experience or anything of that nature. She's just going to share her experiences from her life authentically, and maybe you will be able to get some value from that. So don't take anything that we say here specifically as some kind of definitive Bible truth. It's just a genuine sharing of life. And so speaking of genuine sharing of life, tell me a little tell our audience, because I already know some of these things, but tell our audience about who you are, a little bit about your story, and how you found your way to your life on your 𝚐𝚘𝚡.
Got it. So currently I'm somewhere 35, maybe. I forgot counting my age. No, let me be
Wonderful.
35. And yes, as for the books, I was I started, I found out about them when I was a teenager. So it was the late 90s, maybe. So I still remember the time when we were waiting for the books, for the release of the books.
Wow.
And for like, okay, this year you have read one book, and then there was no internet or nothing like that. So I was just occasionally looking at the bookshelf, so maybe there is something else. And finally, for example, in a year you have a new one, and somehow I collected the whole series. Maybe maybe just such a personal, I don't know, still childish way of accepting the thing, but I was together with my friend, and we were so inspired by these books that I don't know, somehow, but I genuinely feel that that's my thing, and immediately I focused on them and didn't lose this focus. And yes, I remember that, okay, a year passed, so I need to start searching, finding maybe the new books somewhere on the shelves. So at that time, it happened like that I was a regular city child who learned at school, but in summer my parents brought me to my grandmother, and I believe we are still maybe the last lucky generation in Russia that still had grandparents who lived kind of on the land. However, my grandparents already left the real Russian villages, they migrated to bigger cities, but as it's written that your ties to land, the bond that you have, they still had it, and they just bought a kind of a garden near the city. And it was a regular Russian practice in the 90s, have these small gardens, and they build a house, and the whole summer I spent there. Total freedom, no control. What else do you need to have a happy teenagehood?
Yeah, truly.
Maybe that's why the books influenced me so much, and I remember them during my whole life. Can't say that it really was my guiding star, the Northern Star, but somewhere I just remembered some statements, citations, something from the book that it helped me a lot during my my early stages of career. However, I still was a regular child at school, university, you know, diploma, work. But still, I hope that her ideas really helped me along my way. And I can't say that I had a lot of troubles or something like that. I knew my values, and I understood that somehow I'm still young, but I'd like to try it. I mean, what was written in the books, like to start a king's domain, although I was just a teenager and I kind of had this plan, maybe, okay, I need at least to graduate from university, get a profession, and then somehow we'll see how it goes.
Right. And so how did you wind up meeting, your story with Vadim is very interesting, and how you met him and how you eventually wound up moving to your land.
No, first of all, I want to say everybody that we both were married, so this is our second marriage. And I believe that I will touch this subject in one of my videos, surely, because people you maybe believe that, yes, king's domain, love, this pure life, this first, I don't know, everybody's virgin. I'm sorry, no, that just is still real life, and we are not so divine, kind of. So I was in my first marriage. Vadim was in his first marriage, and this is our second try, honestly. So I want everybody to make to make it clear. And while I was so I was divorced with a kid. That's the worst situation that may happen to a woman with a little baby. My baby, my son wasn't so little, but anyway, when I was searching, yes, for my next step, I had a lot of criticism from Russian men, by the way, yes, because, and especially in Anastasia movement, because let's say this ideal Anastasia some men are looking for, they honestly, they rarely exist. No, let's put it clear, and that's the reality. And a lot of men are really still looking forward.
When you say like the ideal that they're looking for that doesn't exist, can you say what that is specifically?
No, they need something like Anastasia in books.
I see.
This divine woman with poor thoughts, poor mind, I don't know, mindfulness, beautiful, whatever they picture themselves. And surely, as I was divorced with a kid, I didn't follow in any of these patterns. And I believe that something we, again, as I believe we have some biases and prejudice against these things, but honestly, as I see it right now, when finally I'm in a king's domain, it's not such a rare thing. It's, I would say that's 60, maybe 70% of all relationship that people get into their second marriages. They even divorce in living in king's domains. So it's not so maybe idealistic as I thought it could be. People are still people, just a relationship. It might be still a pain in the neck. Okay, but talking about our, but we
it's
really
good to think about, yeah.
Talking about our wonderful story, because it's really amazing how things, you never know, and sometimes you should really maybe trust the universe that Anastasia wrote that these spirits guide you, help you somehow. So as you mentioned before, Vadim was the first blogger, and of course when I finally had the internet, computers, and all the things, of course I started to research. And at this time he was the first one who had this emailing, like e-letters. So you just subscribe and got the regular emails with photos, with pros and cons. And I really appreciated that he started his King's Domain, and he shared like his pluses, minuses, like it was so real. And sometimes he even wrote like, I made a mistake, my bad, just I'm an idiot, and so on. Really,
Very
yeah.
human.
So yeah, it was I really couldn't I see, like it wasn't like it was in the book, so idealistic again, like, but he shared the real experience, and that's what I valued a lot. However, I knew like he was married, and I wasn't married at that time, but I was already in this relationship. And for me, I always thought, no, like, wow, he's the perfect man in the world, because he started, he's sharing his experience. And if you remember the Anastasia, like Vladimir Migre asked, and okay, you give birth to children, and what do we do? And she said that your aim is to change the world for the baby, for the kids.
For the baby is born, right?
Yes. So, and I thought that, okay, just if we compare, just give birth to a baby and change the world. Wow, my gosh, that's so huge. And at that time, I believed, no, I wasn't a very proficient internet user, but to my mind, at that time, he was the only one who really tried to kind of change the world by the way he shared his real experience, like what works, what doesn't work, so on. So I really see that he's following these principles, kind of. That's why I thought, oh, he's like the best man in the world. No, because I understood that he has enough power just to start the king domains, to have family, and all the things. I know that's, I don't know, incredible amount of energy, and also to write about it in a regular way. So that's why I followed him, and I thought just supported him somehow. He had several projects, but I was just a regular, like we say, follower, and that's it. And somehow after years, things have changed. So I even actually didn't know that he was divorced, and later I was divorced too. And that made me thinking like, what it happened like that my first husband was into the ideas, but he like he liked it, but he was not ready to follow. Like, okay, the ideas are great, but no, we will stay in the city. And somehow, firstly, we even visited some King's domains with my first husband, but he didn't like it so much. So we just somehow grow into maybe different people. I would say that he decided that the city life suits him better, and I understood that I cannot live like that if I even don't try. If I don't know, there is always the thing that just for example, the Steve Jobs things. If you realize that the doctor says you're gonna die in 6 months, and you need to do all the things that, so what are you going to regret? So will you regret? And I really understood that I will regret if I don't even try. Just okay, Anastasia wrote it's even like good to dream about it, but okay, I'm dreaming since my teenagehood, since I first found out about everything. So I understood that that's the thing I will really regret, that I even didn't give it a try, give it a go. And so I was alone. I was in Russia. There is a famous website, anastasia.ru, and they have a special. I'm sorry, it's in Russian. There is an international version, but the site is very old and awkward. I don't know how it still functions, but somehow it functions. And there is a how to say, not a direction, but a special section for those who wants to find the
their
second
soulmate. That's where I met my wife.
Yeah, and I just registered there and said honestly that I'm divorced, I have a son, and I'd like to start 𝚐𝚑𝚒𝚜𝚝. I'm ready to relocate, and no, basically you don't have the message there is quite short. And but it still functioned, and some men started to write me, and I even had, I remember, a very good discussion with one guy from Crimea, but you know, even before it, in Russia, we already have these things like gathering, like meetings of people who search for soulmates according to Anastasia books. And I visited this event, and I didn't find my soulmate, but it at least helped me to revalue, to start living again, it was kind of the like restart, because there were 5 days of people who are most of them knew Anastasia's ideas, and actually this is kind of to find your soulmate, maybe your future partner, so I was really inspired. And at that event, there was such a task. I don't know, it's kind of trivial. Just you take a piece of paper and write down everything what you want to find in your future husband. And at this event, it really, it was the task. So, okay, just you must write everything down, what you want. Put as many details as possible, even like the color of the eyes, the size, the shape, I don't know, the height. And yes, I wrote it down. And guess, Vadim, now my husband, he's 95% of this of my writing. I realized that firstly, I'm not so young enough. I'm already 30 like plus with a child, so I don't really have time to maybe start a new settlement, and maybe I didn't feel that I have enough power to so I wanted to join a real way where everything will be done, settle down with a husband, or not with a husband, sorry, with a house, with electricity. So I was not ready to be so brave to start everything, start from scratch. And honestly, I wrote down that I'd like this person, my future husband, to be divorced as well, because I believe that it's still my genuine belief that when you separate, maybe you will understand each other easier, maybe because you have the same kind of pain, maybe then there will be no excuses like, oh, I was waiting for you for my whole life, but you failed, you found somebody else. So I think we will be equal and start all over again. And even at that point, Vadim matched up my expectations. This writing somehow helped me also a lot in defining my goals. And so this writing in detail, but I always say that he wrote me first. He saw my picture, he found my profile. And as I didn't know that he was in search as well, when he firstly wrote me, like, I'm Vadim Karabinskaya, and I found you on Anastasia website, I liked your profile, I was like, oh my God, that's the God I was dreaming about. I couldn't believe that. I knew he was like a blogger, he's so experienced, 14 years of 𝚑𝚒𝚒𝚝, and I'm honestly, I was just nothing. I've never lived in a village. I have zero experience of gardening, weaving, of this, I don't know, female techniques or whatever. I felt that for him, he's such a god. Who started, and he made films, he traveled around Russia, he visited these settlements, and 14 years of living in a king's domain, of building his house. And I thought, okay, he should, no, I'm not, of course I'm like nothing, I have and divorced with his son, how could I be? So I honestly didn't take it so seriously. So I thought, okay, he surely he needs something better, because for him it should be a real goddess with all the skills, with, I don't know, maybe into yoga or no, something really perfect, because he was amazingly perfect for me. No, like I told you, like the best man in the world, and he's still the best.
Yeah,
that's my genuine opinion.
That's beautiful.
So really I couldn't take it seriously. So okay, no, you are searching. I was shocked. Immediately I googled everything and found out that actually yes, yes, he experienced like breakup as well. I was shocked, like, just believe me, he was the god, and the gods also like end their relationship. How could it be? How could this woman like say him no or something like that? But so somehow it was he wrote some messages, then we switched to the Russian social network ВКонтакте because it's just more user-friendly, and we chatted, but not so frequently, because I just, again, I didn't think that I could be something for him, just because I'm not so, I don't know, divine, virgin or whatever. But as he told me later, yes, of course, he communicated with many girls as well. But once he was in his house thinking about like, okay, I should choose one, and finally maybe get more personal, invite her to my king's domain, something like that. And he was lying and thinking about it, like I have this and that. And he says that something like came to me, and like whom should I invite? And it was like Galina. And he wrote me like, why don't we meet? Let's like arrange a meeting somewhere in person. And he still has this recording, because I was so speechless when I got the invitation from him, that he still has it, but I cannot just listen to it because I was so speechless. I was trembling with, I don't know, with fear, but I really was unbelievable for me, something like, why me? Like never. Why should we just, it's something impossible. So even I couldn't type because my hands were trembling. So I recorded him a voice message, like I was maybe even half crying. I still can't. No, I was really so shocked and surprised. And but we firstly, I already wanted to visit the second meeting of to find a soulmate, because the first one was so inspiring, and we somehow agreed that we're gonna meet there at this event. It's near Moscow, so it was comfortable to travel from me, because actually I lived at that time in the center of Russia, and he lives, if you just think, so Russia is big, really. So
yeah,
firstly we agreed to meet there, but then it turned out that he couldn't visit the meeting because of his father's illness, and he told me, I'm not gonna come, I'm gonna visit my father. And I understood that without him this meeting just loses the sense. I don't want to just go there. And I thought, okay, why should I lose time going somewhere if actually my purpose already, no, it wasn't, I still couldn't take it like that it's so could be real, but at least firstly look how they live, how people live, just visit a real king's domain, why not? And I wrote him, I know it's against all the principles, like that a girl visits no, a woman visits a man. So according to the rules, maybe a man should first visit a girl. And the thing that I'm
The
coming,
rules.
yes. The thing that I am a grown-up woman visiting a single man can be like a prejudice again, but no, maybe it was weird, but I wrote him, I don't want to go to Moscow, and maybe I still, wait, what, can I come to you? I just, again, I excused maybe 100 times that it's not, I think maybe a proper woman should do, but maybe I would visit your king's domain directly without any Moscow meetings or whatever. And he told me, okay, I'll meet you. And yes, the Petrozavodsk, that the city that's like the capital of Republic of Karelia, I came by train, he met me, and we spent 4 days together. Somehow, as I knew him, I don't know, he told me that I subscribed in 2011, so I'm subscribed to, I was subscribed to his, but I was following him earlier, I believe, just without any subscriptions. So I have been knowing him, I don't know, for years. And I really trusted and believed him. I knew that nothing wrong is going to happen. I don't know, these bad things or something. Somehow I felt that everything's going to be okay. And we spent 4 amazing days, and I don't know, it was so relaxing. It was really like finding your soulmate. We had such interesting coincidences where it was really like mind reading, thought reading. I don't know how to. I wrote down every day, every single day, because I don't know, it was really kind of magic. And after 4 days, at the last day, we already were discussing the relocation, the marriage, what we're going to have. But it's unbelievable. Just right now, I can't even understand how just 3 days and you already, you just met this person, and in 3 days you decide to get married, or you are talking about the kids.
It's that past life recognition. It's like you met him and you felt naturally that he was your husband, and he felt that you were his wife, and it was just natural. It just kind of happened. That the same thing happened with me. I understand what you felt.
But now, even when I'm talking, it feels like so insane and weird and unpractical, whatever all the things are.
It seems like it, but like Anastasia talks about that we are the Vedarus people. She tells these stories of people who, like Radomir and Livomila or whatever, and they had been together in the Vedic time, and then they found each other in this life. And though that bond of love is really what draws people's souls back to each other, and it never fades away. And so there's this instant feeling of, I know this person, I'm comfortable with them, she feels like my wife, he feels like my husband. And what do you need to discuss when the energy's there? I'm not saying don't be practical and don't make good decisions and just marry people indiscriminately, but I mean, when you know something, right? And you should always question your feelings. But I mean, I'm not surprised to hear that kind of story. I think more and more people will have those kinds of experiences because you probably were together before and coming back together now. That's my opinion.
Yeah, but we wanted to make sure that we are not crazy, so we organized the meeting.
Certainly.
We organized then a meeting in Moscow just after 2 weeks. Like, we met each other again, but in Moscow, like in different circumstances in a city, just once again to look at each other. Maybe I don't know, maybe we were drinking and some kind of a crazy tea, I don't know, whatever.
Some crazy tea.
Yeah. No, it
That's funny.
repeated again. So again, we spent the whole day together, and we still came to conclusion that it's still how it is. And just so we met in January. In February, he came to my hometown where I lived with my parents. He got to know my parents, my son, because it was also so important for me. So he spent the whole week. It seems like it still worked. This magic still functioned, and so just I told my parents, I'm leaving for Karelia. Bye bye.
Mm.
Of course, we organize the relocation, packing, but it's technical procedures. And I don't remember exactly. No. The 13th of February, because the 14th of February is like the Valentine's Day, romance and love. So
Yeah.
that's why I remember. The 13th of February, I moved in. No, I'm sorry, just we with my son. And
Yep.
since that, yes, we have discussed everything, the rituals and the thing that we have my son. And if you remember in the book, there are different rituals for families who have kids already, and all this. So
Yep.
we organized it, and it wasn't so, I would say, easy, because just imagine it was winter. Oh, but we did it, and
You did
just
it right when you moved in. That the right for kind of making your son and all of you like a family. You did that in
yes,
February
we did it.
or
No, we
March.
waited. We waited. It took us 2 months to adjust, to organize, to feel. So it wasn't really so fast. However, uh, we wanted to be as quick as possible. I don't know. We really couldn't wait, but still, we really had to wait. No, just we need this ritual first, and that I remember it was quite a hard time to go through. And after a year, we got Lubava, our first daughter.
Mm-hmm. And how was that first rite for you, the one with your son and you and Vadim? What was your experience with that? I've never met anyone who's performed it.
You mean the relationship, how my son felt, or what
Well,
exactly?
how your experience with that, you, Vadim, your son, right? Because that's the rite that Anastasia talks about, where your son can kind of become Vadim's son by blood, right? And you go out under the stars and you do this thing.
Yes, we did
And
this. We did
I've
it.
never met anyone who has performed that, so I would love to hear what your experience with that was.
Maybe I have a unique son, but um, he had troubles in the kindergarten. So he visited this official governmental kindergarten. So he was never
Mm,
happy there, and I felt like pity that I had to work, and of course, no, he went to this kindergarten, and he was just so happy to be released, like his freedom. I don't have to, like, he didn't have to get up at I don't know, at 6 just to be ready for 8 o'clock a.m. in the
yeah.
morning to go to the kindergarten. I believe he would agree. He would agree to anything, He just okay, Karelia, let's go. No kindergarten, we'll do it. And he's still like that. I don't know, whatever happens, and he's just so positive. Okay, new papa, new daddy. Okay, great. Let's go and see. He's so enthusiastic about everything new.
Mm,
And I don't know, still maybe when he grows up, he'll tell me how these two things, I don't know, combined, how he really felt. Of course, it wasn't really so easy, because there were some issues like no, for example, in the city you've got a toilet I'm sorry, but for example, we still don't have it, and it's our decision that we are not going to have it in home, in the house.
Yeah.
So some of these procedures, at that moment he like slept with me, so I really understood that he needed this bond, and maybe just when a man again like comes between you and your son, but somehow slowly he started to sleep, for example, alone in his own bed. It took a while. Yeah, I can't say that it really was so fast, but it wasn't, I don't know, so difficult at the same time. Yes, there were some issues we have to work on, but more or less that's it. And yes, we went through this ritual where he told, okay, are you going to be my new dad? No problem. Like, I agree. Yes, we are the family.
Wow. That's great. And
I believe he got it seriously, but maybe no. I don't know what's going on. What was going on? But that's how it went.
Did he feel anything, or did you feel anything during that ritual? I'm just curious.
I just was shaking and trembling. Vadim prepared a very pathetic speech, and my son honestly was like nervous. What are we going to do? Maybe let's go for a walk. Why is he still talking? That my husband Vadim even had to like, let me continue. Just please don't speak, because he had a really beautiful speech, and my son was like, "No, well, okay, no, when it's going to finish? Let's go. What do you want from me? Family, okay, yes, dad, not bad. Yeah, I like it living here. I'd love to live here." No, just he was three and something. No, okay, almost 4 years old. So I hope that that's how the ritual should function. Like,
Yeah.
officially we got permission, if we talk about what's written. So officially, yes. I can say that
It's amazing.
I can say that it's really something, I don't know. It's still father and son. It doesn't mean that if you perform this ritual, maybe, I don't know, they start loving. They still maybe contradict each other, agree and disagree, fighting. They're still like kids,
Certainly.
like it's a normal thing. It doesn't mean that if you perform, I don't know, you will always love each other and care about. They are still like two men, and like parents, children, all the things, they still remain.
Right.
But
Right.
when I ask
Well,
my husband, he really says like, yes, he's my son, and I like feel the whole responsibility and all the things. And I see that he really feels like, and he behaves like that.
very interesting. Yeah, I've never met anyone who's done that before, so it's interesting to hear your experience. So you met Vadim, you moved to the Kinzdomain, you and your son are there, and now you've been there for 3 years, 3.5 years.
No, if you remember, I was talking about the 13th of February, the Valentine's Day. No, 14th of February. So yes, it's gonna be very soon, 3 years.
Yeah. And so you've had all these experiences, you've done a lot, you and Vadim, and can you talk about some of that? Like, what are the beautiful aspects of that life? What are some of the aspects that people may find interesting to know? Like, you did a video about common myths about Kinsdomains, which I thought was very insightful. I'd love for you to just talk a little bit about, maybe just start with some of the positive and beautiful things that you've experienced there.
Firstly, I would say total freedom. When people are talking about freedom in cities, I don't believe them anymore. How can you be free? I don't know, when you're dependent on so many services like, I don't know, electricity, gas, food. You're dependent on everything. Just if somebody cuts out like this gas or electricity, whatever they talk about, this politics, yes, people already like, it scares people. They have fear, and only here maybe I felt that. Of course, we are not totally independent always. Yes, we still, you see, have the internet, electricity, and so on. But only here I felt like I can really do what I want, because this is my land. This is, I don't know, no, no people around you. I really can be myself. No guidelines, and no neighbors around you who are like breathing your neck. No, like this kindergarten or doctors, because in a city, no police maybe even. So really, I only felt that what total, I can't say it's total freedom, but at least that I felt kind of released finally. That's still the thing that I'm still, that still surprises me. I even don't know how to describe it, but really that I'm I'm something, like I'm the man on the earth. Because in the city you're just a small particle of all this hustle and bustle, all this fuss, I don't know, rush or whatever people do. Feels like a bee house with all these bees, and you're almost like nothing there. Of course you mean something, but maybe, and maybe that's a problem as well, because not everybody is ready to meet your real self without any other people, without any excuses. Oh, no, I have to work. No gym, no doctors or whatever, no friends, or cinema, new cinema, no new restaurant, something. We've got so many things that, I don't know, like keep us from us, or keep us from, if you're talking about couple, yes, like we have works, issues, and friends, yes, and we have parents we have to meet, and so many things that we have to. And firstly, I realized that I don't have to go to the shop, I have no gym, I have nothing basically. Like, oh, if we compare to cities, okay, city you can go restaurants, cinemas, go shopping, swimming, I don't know, partying, whatever you like. And firstly in my life, like, you have nothing, and you just only have you, okay, your kid, your child, your husband, and okay, some neighbors, but they won't knock at your door. They're somewhere just really not far away, but still not like if we compare to an apartment building. So these things may be crucial for some people, I believe, and maybe not everybody is ready to face this and embrace yourself, your real self.
Yeah, who we are when we're not rushing around, or like Anastasia talked about, when you're able to free your thought, right? That sounds like what you're describing here, that your mind has been freed of all these external things, and now, right, you have a chance to be face to face with yourself. And that's a really deep and powerful experience, right? And maybe you're right, maybe that it probably is, whether someone feels like they're ready for it or not, it probably is kind of a lot to experience, I would imagine.
Yeah, when everything is so far away, still it's reachable. Surely you just can, I don't know, grab a car and go to a city and come back to this life. But do we have to? Do you really want it? You know, I believe when, for example, we bought a car this year, and I thought, okay, now every day I can visit the city, I can go to the city center, and I don't know, go shopping, go to the cinema, go to the theater. And I still didn't do it. I just don't
Yeah, you
feel
never
like,
did it.
I just don't feel like doing it. And I think, okay, what for? What will I get? It's now it seems like for me kind of escaping from you when, for example, as I'm an online teacher and my students sometimes discuss with me, have you seen this movie? Have you seen that? And okay, 3 years
No.
ago, just stop asking me about movies that were released shorter than 3 years ago, something like that. Just because I really don't know. I'm sorry for that, but I'm not following any of these trends. And I
Right.
don't feel like that it really will brings me, whether I will benefit from it. No, I just don't. It just stopped somehow.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. And what are some of the other kind of beautiful aspects that you've experienced in life on your domain?
I finally allowed myself to start something new. Just, for example, all this gardening
Mm.
thing. I've never thought that it honestly could be so amazing, so interesting, and it can be so inspiring as well. Like to see that these little plants start growing and then they produce something that, like, whoa, can I do it? Wow, that's my boy, something like that. Uh, uh, I thought it's just something for old grannies. Okay, when I retire, I'll have a garden. No, it's so inspiring, and I still feel so. um, No, I don't feel any limits. Although it's the northern land here, so the climate, but still, it even makes things even more interesting. Whether I'll be able to
Mm.
grow this plant here, whether not. So gardening, the all these female things like sewing. I haven't, I didn't have time in the city for that. And it seems again,
Mm.
it like it's considered to be so old-fashioned. Like there are so plethora of things that you can do in the city, but not just, I don't know, uh, and why do you need to take care of the old clothes? Just throw it away, buy a new one. Um, so many things that I started to think about, and I started doing, like weaving, for
Mm.
example. And when I moved in, I'm a milk lover, so I eat dairy products and cheese, and
Hmm.
um, I really thought, okay, if I live on the land, why don't we have like something like a cow or at least goats? So in spring, we bought 2 goats, and as you were asking about pets, yes, no, they are not really pets, but uh, now they are 3. So all this milk thing, yes, how to
Mm.
breed the animals, how to take care of them. I also was zero experience in it.
Wow.
Of
Yeah,
course,
that's beautiful.
uh, new neighborhood. So I'm still discovering things that I feel like, again, talking about the freedom, it kind of comes. I feel free to start this, to start that, maybe trying this, and the people here, the neighborhood, they also like inspiring, like do these herb things here, like um, when you live on the land, it's natural to find out uh, why why does it grow, how can it be helpful, how can it help treat me. Uh, so you start getting interested in different things.
Hmm.
So I finally
Interesting.
found time, although now with 2 babies, and no, okay, the eldest is not a baby, but still, with my job, because I'm still working. uh, I feel like I have more time for things I really like, and I really like to, because in the city it's always like offered. Try this, try that, new gym, new cinema, new restaurant, new dishes, whatever, um, new band, new music. You're talking about, for example, new concerts, and only here
Hmm.
you pick up what you need. you can really like define, okay, that's would be not somebody else's what we got used to, but you have time and place for your own likes and dislikes.
Right. That's great. And can you share more about, I'd love for people to hear about your experience, like your connection with the land, but also kind of the climate and how you feel there, because a lot of people listening to this are probably, and myself included, still searching for their land and the right place for them to live. And they want to find this connection and finally settle down and create their kinsdomain. And so it's interesting because everybody has a different climate that kind of works for them. Like Anastasia decides to stay in Siberia in the taiga, and she just wants to stay there, and her family's been there forever. And some people would say, oh, that's too cold or it's too difficult, right? And I'm sure some people would say the same thing for you and you and Vadim, and you've gone through and you've adjusted and decided like this is where I want to stay, right? And you feel that this is how you want to live your life. And so can you speak to that idea a little bit for our audience, like connecting with the land, feeling like it's yours, something like that?
Okay, at the I even don't know whether it's maybe whether it was just a piece of my imagination or not, but when if we come back to the story where I first came to visit Vadim, I told him, you know, I can come to your place, and he told, okay, just come. I'll meet you. And for me, it was such, I don't know, a religious thing, a king's domain. So before entering the king's domain, no, we still have this tree, and no, I haven't planned it, but I thought it might be a good idea just to ask for permission to get in, just to step in the king's domain. I did it spontaneously. I didn't give it much thought, but before entering the his king's domain, I asked Vadim, like, let's give me a minute, please. I touched the nearest tree, berg tree, if I'm not mistaken, and I asked, like, I introduced myself, and like, I'm here just to get to know your like master Vadim, and maybe we still don't know whether it's gonna happen or something is gonna click, but just can you just somehow let me in? And
Yeah.
I felt that I felt a positive response. Like, I didn't feel any borders or something that, or fears, I don't know. Just I felt like, okay, go on, let it go. And that moment I still remember, like, I gave the permission to enter. And since then, you see the thing that Vadim has chosen this land, and he was really searching. And as he explains, when he visited this land, he got this feeling like, that's my home, that's where I belong. I only got kind of the permission to to enter, but I understood that the climate here is different. Maybe doesn't bother me so much. I really I was prepared to something worse. Honestly, I come from the central Russia, and it's warmer. The summer is longer, the winter is shorter, blah blah. But I don't feel that there is really such a big difference in climate here, because I am always in contact with my mom, and for example, they have already had like something below. Oh, you have Fahrenheit, so quite very cold, some extreme cold. But that's like the central Russia. We are to the north, so we are like should be much colder, but there in central Russia has experienced already these extreme colds, but for at that moment in our territory, it was like normal cold, let's say it, nothing like extreme. And when we know, when we compare the climate, I don't see really huge difference in it. Maybe I always try to find positive things. Yes, the snow will come earlier, maybe. The only difference I really see that if I want to have good, I don't know, crops, I need to only in greenhouses. And my mom still can live without it, just land, so plant everything in soil directly. But with my greenhouses, we've got 3 here, I get better results. I get like prolonged time of harvesting, how to say it. So I found that here in the north with greenhouses, I may have even better results than those in the central Russia, because they have too much heat. Honestly, this and because of the agriculture is much, so here everybody forgot about agriculture because that's too dangerous. So nobody has ever really, it wasn't industrial, I mean this. So that's why maybe the land is pure, the water is pure. And in central Russia, where the climate, of course, is more favorable, for example, we even don't have a lot of, not trees, but forests, because it's just fields for everything. And here just Karelia, forest. Yes, because they don't just grow anything because of the climate zone.
Interesting.
I'd like maybe it to be a bit warmer, but again, you may say that it's just a coincidence, but the year I came in winter, so it was my first summer. It was the hottest summer in Karelia. So I really felt like at home. I didn't feel the difference. And everybody complained, "Lo, it's so hot, it's unbelievably hot." I felt like, okay, I'm at home. That's a normal temperature for me, like for Central Russia.
Normal.
It's normal, like the kind of so for example, right now this winter is incredibly warm again. We have something like when the temperature is near when the water melts. So it's snow, but it's very, very warm. My kids, for example, go out they even just put a winter jacket and go for work because it's just really so warm here. I don't know why. Maybe just again the climate is changing, but I've never experienced like Arctic, or you are the most northern settlement in Karelia, in Russia.
Right.
Maybe because of the climate, maybe because I'm too crazy, or of course, maybe I'd like it to be a bit warmer. Sometimes I feel that I want to prolong summer, but that's what I believe everybody wants, like to have more hotter, sunnier days.
Pretty much.
So maybe people shouldn't really be afraid of these things. You can adopt, you can adjust, but still, it depends on your feeling. I feel comfortable. I don't feel like, I don't know, like it's really
you don't feel
huge.
like you're there like against your will or something, like you're suffering while you're there.
Yeah, totally. I'm not suffering. It could be better, it could be warmer, but generally I see I have the same, I can grow the same plants, this almost the same. Okay, for example, my mom, they can grow apricots, small, but they can. We can't, but it's my room for development, because as I'm already discovering this, there are special kind of breeds or types of trees that even can be, I believe, planted here with special preparation. But who knows, maybe one day we'll grow here palm trees.
Well, I've heard a lot of very interesting stories about people being able to grow plants that you wouldn't normally be able to grow in a certain climate, but growing them successfully, and even to the point where they're flourishing and very successful. And interestingly enough, all the stories I've heard about that have to do, yes, with proper preparation and making sure the plants are suitably arranged wherever they are, but also human attention being put on them. Like this direct attention can actually, there was a story, a man, normally it takes 32 years for a walnut tree to start producing walnuts that you can eat. He did it in 16, because pretty much half the time, because he was very attentive to this walnut tree, and it grew faster. And there's all these kinds of stories where our participation with the plant can make them actually survive in temperatures that they wouldn't normally. So I've heard a bunch of stories like that. I believe it's possible, more than people would think normally. And one thing I'd like to ask you about, and you shared about in your recent video, which I found very inspiring personally, was you talked about this feeling of connection and support from the land. You'd mentioned towards the end of your most recent video, kind of feeling that the land, I don't know, and you can speak about this better because I haven't really had that experience, but like you feel a connection with it and it supports you, and you have this very kind of dynamic relationship with the land. Can you speak about that a little more? Because I know a lot of people have never had that experience, and I would love for you to share about that if you could.
Just the only thing, I really believe that the land once, I really feel that the land needs our attention once. Just let it go, let yourself touch the ground, don't be afraid of it. Although I had zero experience in gardening, I'm like a beginner level, but just put a seed into the ground. It's like amazing how it starts growing. I would say that and then how it flourishes, how it gives everything it can just to you. It's so inspiring. I don't know how people cannot be, I don't know, attached to it or doesn't feel a thing about it. Just the only thing you may need to find what you really like. For example, for some flowers, I feel that, okay, they're beautiful, but somehow it's not my thing. Just find, but that's abundance of flowers and trees and whatever you want. Even in our northern climate, we can still grow so many things. Just feel your thing and just let it put. Of course, nobody says that it's just out of a thin air and it will grow somehow. Yes, you need to water it at least, depending on the soil. Of course, you need to consider the things as well. That of course, if we put a banana tree here, it won't grow. No miracle. But just consider, take care of a friend, because if you, for example, invite a friend, you won't leave your friend on, I don't know, in the land, in the cold. Of course, you'll try to prepare something, make good. And even as we have quite a lot of land, and that's what my husband says, like the biggest mistake that he took, 9 times more than Anastasia told. Anastasia told 1 hectare. My husband has 9 hectares. No, at that time he believed the more the better. So even that we are not able to take care of every single plant, they are still trying to serve us. They're still trying to blossom, to give. I really feel it that in spring there, although it might be, the thing that we have such thing as frost that comes back, for example, in June.
Yep.
It may be such a sudden comeback, so you really should feel it, because the weather forecast won't tell you anything about it. It like strikes quite suddenly, and even with such unpredictable things, they try to flourish. They really want to take care of you. They just let them take care of you. That's what I feel. Just give it a little support, and as every year I see that we have more and more crops. And although this year I told okay, I'm not going to focus on it. I'm sorry, I'll forget big because I'm more important, my kid and so on. But even they're trying, they'll do their best. And you start, although honestly, no, I haven't chosen this land, but you start communicating with them. Okay, how you doing? I see that, oh, maybe I see your brothers and sisters in another place, and I see that they're growing better. So maybe that's not the perfect place for you. Let me take you to another place. And then you see that it starts growing. It's still kind of an experiment, and you see that when it's improving, you feel, oh, I became one more step better. That's the universe will thank me for that or something. It's again inspires you, although I've never read something like special books that it should be like that or planted only here. Yes, you start of course, you start understanding really the sun, the wind, the place. Okay, that's the shadow, that's the sun, this likes, this doesn't like. You start feeling the land. Okay, this is dry, this is water, what is near it. Such little things that matter. And so year by year, I see that it is improving. Although you don't really think, and I've never, I still maybe, I'm sure I should read something like gardening textbook or something wise, but should I? I feel like this natural thing when you just have a watchful eye, and that will might allow you to become a better gardener than all these scientists or whatever.
Well, how did all those expert gardeners learn in the
Yeah.
first place, right? It's observation and experience, and then they just wrote it down. It's not really any different than what you and Vadim are doing.
Of course, the neighborhood. So we've got some experts, like my neighbors, but they became expert to such level that only their kin domain, they're able to produce so many fruits and vegetables that literally they can feed the whole settlement.
Incredible.
Only their hectare, not even hectare, even less. But okay, they have been doing it for 10 years. I hope that in 10 years, I also be able to do the same. But as I said,
I'm sure.
it is evolving. Maybe I don't really want to do this, but we have such experts that tell me, oh, Galina, please come and take it. I don't need this. It's too much.
I have too much.
Yes, I have too much. We have the neighbor who sells it. For example, we buy things that this time maybe I wasn't very successful with carrots, so I buy carrots from him. Yeah, so even your land, even less than a hectare, is ready to feed much more than just one family. Even in our northern land, in our climate, yes, it's not the best one, surely, not the hottest and the warmest, but surely people will not starve here with a little bit of attention.
And can you share, so your second child, your daughter, you gave birth to her on your domain, and you're now pregnant again, which is such a wonderful thing. And you told me earlier that you'll be having your next child in maybe the next 2 months. And I would love for you, if you could, to share about your experience of giving birth on the domain, raising your children on the domain. You have your son who wasn't born there and your daughter who was born there, and also what it's like to be pregnant and to be on your domain as well. Because I mean, I know I just asked you three separate questions and they're all very large. So maybe I can go back to some of them, but I think because so many people like in North America have not experienced that yet, right? Like I told you, we haven't had the kind of development of settlements like you have, and there was less domains and things. So I think people would find your story very interesting if you would care to share.
Maybe the closest thing for me right now is giving birth, and
Sure.
first of all, people should be really careful about it. I don't even. So it really must be an informed decision. So in my case, it works like that. So I visit the doctor regularly. So I do medical checkups, but the thing is that my first baby was born through C-section. So I had an operation, and I had because of a diagnosis, so I had a kind of a bad situation, and of course I was very concerned about my second pregnancy, that this thing could repeat as well, and it is dangerous for both a child and a mother. So that's why, although I knew I live in the kin domains, but again, we are not don't overestimate, underestimate. Just for me, it was important to understand, to feel safe, secure, that everything is going well. So that's why I visited the doctor. In Russia, there is such a thing that we pregnant women, they should be officially registered. I don't know how it is called, but that you're officially pregnant, something like that. And there is a whole that's like the whole protocol of things that should be done. Like every month this analysis, then test this and that, doctors, ultrasound, and so a lot of things that should be done. And then with this pile of documents, you finally go to the maternity house, not how it should be. So I collected this pile of documents because of my C-section and because of my diagnosis, that I wanted to make sure that it will not repeat. So the internet said like there was the 40% probability that it might happen again, and this might be quite harmful, as I told. But it appeared like that even the official doctors, official medicine gave me permission to have like natural labor. That even so my analysis and ultrasound, everything was in order. So there was a special date where I was supposed to arrive to the maternity hospital. Like they calculate this date, so you come, they wait for a couple of days until if everything starts, it starts. If it doesn't start, they actually typically they make you, because of some hormones.
They induce the labor.
Yes, they will not wait until it comes naturally, just because nobody's going to wait and pay for you or whatever. I didn't do that, of course. We just however, we had such a, at that moment, we didn't have a car. So I told we have neighbors. So if something happens, just can you quickly drive us to the hospital, whatever. Just I was prepared that it can happen, that we might get medical assistance. And I had an online support. Because when I was with my son, there was the lady I found, but it was so far, it wasn't, so it's in Siberia, she lives in Siberia. Yeah, let's do it like that. So we are hundreds kilometers apart, but because of the internet, I felt like I needed somebody to guide, because although it was the second
Yeah.
child, but my first like natural process, so I want somebody
Right.
to support and to guide me. And she agreed to do it online. Again, it's weird. I will not advise it to anybody. It was just our choice that we had some sessions, online sessions with her, like private training, me and my husband, how everything goes, what
Yep.
should be done. So we bought some stuff before, after, so all these procedures, what you should like keep an eye on. So she told us everything. We had several like sessions with her. And when we understood that that's the start, I just called her and told, although even not called, we were texting each other, you know, that's maybe weird, but I really didn't, no, I felt that's not my thing. I don't want to hear her still, because I didn't maybe want it to be so personal. So, you know, texting is not so personal. And only twice she called, just she wanted to hear how I breathe. Mostly she communicated with my husband, and like she controlled. And I remember only one case when I really needed support during the labor, like a woman's support. Because at a particular, I had a question like, what's going on? It was actually, honestly, it was a stupid question, because it was already a baby, and I couldn't realize that it's just already the head of the baby is coming out. I thought I was just so crazy. No, I couldn't recognize it, and I asked her, what is it?
What is
and
it?
What is it? And she said, it's your baby. I said, no, how could it be? No, so don't ask me, just women in labor, it's sometimes crazy. No, she said,
Sure.
It's like the head with hairs. And I'm just sorry, but I asked Vadim, can you have a look? Is it really a head with hairs? And he told me, yes, Galina, it is. And I felt, yeah, it comes out. So
Amazing.
go on. So that's the really one thing I asked her like to do for me, where I really needed her advice. And no, afterwards, of course, we had some assistance, and that's it. Yes.
In general, it sounds like there was no complications, and sounds like you did a lot of preparation, and in general, it went pretty well.
And the thing that I was ready for it, and my husband was not afraid. For him, it was okay. I'm ready to do it. I'm not afraid of it, because I wouldn't ever maybe do it if he wasn't sure. If he was like, maybe you should go, and he was like so 100% sure, like he's still now, that everything will go. Although I told him, you know, before I had a C-section, it might be dangerous. All the doctors will always tell you, and for example, right now I'm going through it again, like because of you have this cut. Yes, it might somehow tear apart. No, okay. So they always tell me these things that might happen, or yes, I totally understand that it is probable, like there are real cases, and if this thing happens, I'm gonna die. Yes, because the ambulance will not be. I understand it fully, completely. I even have written a paper that if this happens, just nobody is guilty or whatever, I take the full responsibility. But but before officially, yes, I did all the analysis, tests, ultrasound, so scans, whatever is possible, just to make sure that even the official medicine told me, yes, you can, after your first C-section. That gave me, I felt secure, safe, and I didn't feel a thing like something they told like pain, or no, it was not as they like scared me. So I believe this time it will be even easier. And again, we are going to refresh everything. So because it was okay 2 years ago, again, the same procedures, the same what we need to do, like we'll follow the same pattern. And I hope that in 2 months you'll get good news.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will.
About the kids, I really see that I'm not, again, just don't take it for granted, yes, as my first kid, you know, C-section, and he was born 1 month before. So as they say, he was not completely developed. He had a lot of diagnoses that he's not this, he's not that. And the second natural labor, the child is different, but the circumstances are different. I'm sorry, but the father is different. She's such a sweet pie. She's just so incredibly energetic and cheerful. So I see a striking difference between kids. She's so smart, so clever, so helpful. And I remember just already when with the first kid in the city, again, we have this special system. Again, it's all about the system. You need to visit this and that doctor and that doctor. They always say that that's not according to the standard. This is not, again, so many rules and regulations. When Lubau was born, after a month, maybe after 2 months, I went to the doctors, like there is a specialist, like to visit this and that, just to make, no, just a first checkup of the baby. Of course, everybody was shocked. No, not the maternity house. How could so? Are we the first doctors who like touch your baby? Like, yes. There were some issues as well. So maybe this time I will not visit the official, the governmental hospital, but maybe something private. I'd better pay money and just to be more relaxed about it. Yes, because you know, when you enter the system starts functioning, and when they discover that there is like not unwanted but unregistered baby, like he wasn't born in maternity house, they start maybe searching for something
they want
else.
Some kind of reason to have jurisdiction over the baby and to get him into the system.
Although I have written that, again, I'm fully responsible, that whatever happens, we are parents, we are responsible for the kid. Like we are against like vaccination, we are against, because there are like standard visits of a doctor in Russia. There is like the doctor should visit your baby every 2 weeks. The first month, maybe the first 2 months is like they have your address and they must visit you at home. Yes, to check, to see the baby. So I'm against these visits. I don't know, I filled in 5 maybe documents that I don't want this, I don't need this, and still it doesn't mean that if I need help, if I need assistance, we visited the hospital, because sometimes I do kind of regular checkups once a year when I visit my parents. When I come back, they have just a private hospital, and it's just 5 minutes from the apartment building, so I take my 2 kids and do all these checkups once a year. Go through all the doctors and just to make sure that it's okay. I don't say that I'm completely against. But but couple of times I visited the nearest hospital here, like the local one, just to make sure. There was one issue I wanted, but basically I don't need anything else. For my kids are Lubava the second, yes, she's super healthy. We may get infected. There was the issue with the guest, because we have a guest house, and although we tell everybody just, if you're ill, please don't come, but there was an issue when there was a family with a he maybe was recovering, but afterwards we got infected. So again, we are normal people with normal immune system, so viruses, bacteria come, but it's a huge difference whether your child receives everything like when he's 1 year old or when he's already 2 years old. It's much easier when your child is like unbelievably. And I see that it generally takes my kids like 3-4 days to go through everything. So not like I experienced it in the city with my eldest, with my son. Like we could be ill. He could be ill for weeks, and then this treatment. When you try this, you try that, and here maybe the thing is that he didn't want to the kindergarten as well as we had the problem. So maybe he tried to extend as far as possible. That's why it took weeks. Here he wants to go out. He's very interested in the outside world.
I see.
He's like,
right.
no, I'm healthy already. I need to go. No, just maybe get warmer clothes, get dressed properly, something. No, just a winter jacket. You are still coughing. No, I'm already healthy. Something like that. So they take it differently. They go through it differently. Just surely I see of course my son used to be every month we caught a cold in the city because again the kindergarten thing. Here he became much healthier, surely, because we don't have so many contacts, and just his general attitude towards illnesses before it was a pleasure. Okay, I stay home, I don't need to go anywhere, and now it's just stimulates him. He's like, okay, sometimes it even takes him a day. I see that, for example, okay, mommy, I want to sleep. Okay, go to bed. If you want to sleep, just go and do it. Or like I see that it comes naturally from children listen to their body. Mommy, like I don't feel like eating, like, or maybe just a cup of tea, that's all. So there's natural kind of starvation because they need more energy. Maybe something goes wrong. And just imagine when they visit this kindergarten system where they have to be, their breakfast must be eaten and dinner and all the things, where no, we go for work, you can't stay in bed, just go and walk, because that's the time from 12 to 2 we are outside, we have a walk all together. And I see these things that are they just natural. And he doesn't suffer, I don't suffer for weeks because maybe busy and I don't know what to do, how can I help him. So these things are, I believe that's the best I can give to them, like health, natural environment, this freedom, what they can run around, play, choose what they want. Because again, in the city, there are always these limits. No, you cannot do this, you cannot go there. It's like prohibited. No, you can't eat snow. My son loved to eat snow. Just in the city, he went out and started tap the snow. And it was like, oh, how can you eat there? Like dogs and cats and there are like traffic cars. He just liked eating snow. Really, I couldn't. And just imagine in the city, everybody like came to me like, hey, mommy, your son is eating snow. No, okay, I know, I try to choose the freshest snow in the city. Really, I was struggling to find some places for him to snow. My husband Vadim explained that my son, no, it's his version, like he needed normal water because now it's like structured water, and that's how he felt that he didn't have proper water. Because when we relocated to Karelia, firstly he ate, but now I felt totally fine. Do you want to eat snow? Oh, go outside, just eat everything what you see. And he stopped doing it, maybe because he got a proper water here. maybe because of the age, I don't know, but that's maybe one more curious thing that
Interesting.
happened to. Yes, and generally, when we lived in the city, he was such a kid that would taste everything. He would put everything
Right.
in his mouth. It seems it's okay for children, like they even Anastasia wrote, they try
They try to
universe.
try
But
everything, right?
yes, but
Taste the universe.
when we compare my kid with other kids, even it was enormous something. Like they told you should check him. He has maybe some problems digestive system. And only here he stopped doing it. However, firstly, yes, all the trees. So he tried a lot. He was just such a kid. Lubava is totally different. He doesn't do such things. Maybe she doesn't need them. No, they are different, really very different. But a lot of things stopped when we relocated. Before the doctors told me that your son is very energetic. He's too energetic. There is like a special diagnosis when they cannot concentrate because they're moving
Yeah,
constantly.
ADHD or something, and they say that
Yeah.
attention deficit disorder,
Yes,
all
yes,
these
yes.
things.
Yes, exactly. Like he's too active. But just I realized that, yes, he's very energetic, like basically every kid. But firstly, he got the
Right.
opportunity to go outside, to release his energy outside, because
Exactly.
in a city they like what do we have an apartment, a flat, just a cell, and what we can go outside, but in a city, no, these are the cars, this is somebody's area, you cannot go there. And basically here in the king's domain, okay, do whatever you want. No, not of course whatever, just everything in the world, but much more things than in try this, okay, it's no, okay, it's no, it's stone, okay, lick the stone. Want to play with this, I don't know, whatever. He's constantly developing something, playing with water. So kids are so creative, and here finally he got place for his creativity and energy. And so the next time, next year, as I told you, every year when I visit my parents, I go through this like whole medical checkup with the kids. The doctor told me, no, he's like a normal kid. Okay, you
Yeah,
wrote
look at
me
that.
this, he's too energetic, okay, lack of attention, blah 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 blah. And 1 year in the kid's domain, no, just he's a normal kid.
That's powerful. Yeah, the
That's
system doesn't understand children. They want to label them as this, as wrong, or all this, but it's really the problem of the system. The system's trying to squeeze the children into the system, and the city's trying to squeeze the kids into the city, but it's like it's really the opposite. Take it off and let the child be who he is.
maybe that just, but that's little things that like proved me that I'm on the right way, because not only me but the children itself, because they are other like creatures, they are other people. I feel what I feel, but maybe
Right.
they feel it in a different way. But this even doctor hospital things made me sure that okay, you're moving in the right direction, because
Yeah.
parenting is, you can never be used always doubtful whether I do it right. At least in terms of health, I see that I made a huge improvement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing you cannot buy in a city. You cannot. No, it's really. I hope that one day I'll. Like maybe I'm so sorry, but you don't have this, I don't know, computer classes, what the IT classes from the kindergarten. You don't study French, I don't know, and so many things that you don't sing, you don't dance, you don't do. So these courses that are quite popular among children, when in the kindergarten they have like this training and this course and you should learn this and that. Maybe I'm sorry, I can't give you because we live in a remote area, but something, at least health, that you cannot buy everywhere. That's like the foundation, the basis of all your future life. I hope it will work this way, and I'm on the right way here. That ability to do whatever you do, that my son doesn't stick to, it's not glued to the phone. He doesn't know what
that's a huge blessing.
He doesn't watch TV regularly. No, we don't have a TV. I mean, he knows what TV is because we have neighbors that have TV. But again, in my childhood, we had cartoons, we watched cartoons, but we didn't have the whole channels about it where they just went non-stop. And like we had, okay, you watch it for 30 minutes and then they done.
You go somewhere else.
Yes, you go somewhere else.
Right.
Again, you go back to street and you play there. But now I see that, for example, I have my niece, and she lives in the city, obviously, and she just watches these channels non-stop. Even there are 3 or even 4 channels, especially for kids. And of course, these phones. I just see that my son is already 6 and he's like reading books. He's really into reading. He asks me questions, so it's much better, I believe, than just watching. And then he's trying to do something. Oh, mom, we need to catch a rat, and he trying to build a house to catch a rat, mice, something like that. Then the other day, no, for example, it's like I told you, this winter is very warm, so water comes out of the pipe. I need to dig something, a hole for the water. I like, what the hell are you doing? Okay, whatever.
Right.
So
he's a free boy.
This energy in a city, how could he find the way out for his energy? And it comes naturally. Right. I really hope that he will be a smart person and really creative without any boundaries in his mouth, that he can really do anything with our assistance, with our help. I'm sorry, just maybe it took so many time, but this topic, children is, I'm also inspired by this thing. I hope that I'm doing right thing. It feels like that because I feel that they're happy about it mostly. Although it doesn't mean that my children don't fight, like I need this and I also need this thing, and they then sometimes they also cry, they have bad days, so we also say it exists. I don't say that they 100% every second they're happy. They have their ups and downs.
Yeah, I mean, they have the gift of freedom, the gift of independence, being able to pursue their own interests. And it's interesting because I have known a lot of people who've homeschooled their children, or I don't even know if homeschooling is the best example, but educated their children outside of a traditional school structure and raised their children outside of that kind of environment. And I mean, it's amazing what the kids just learn through regular real life experiences. They can learn math just easily, just by picking it up, by using it in real life, and participating, I don't know, selling produce at the farmer's market with their parents and things, and they learn math. And the children are so much more capable, right? And he has the blessing of being able to choose his direction in life. And I'm sure that, children don't really have that gift. It's usually externally imposed on them, right? Of like, this is your direction, or this is what you must do, or this is what you have to think. And all of it's nonsense. And it's just amazing to hear your story of your children just being able to be who they are, and to think what they want to think, and pursue what they want to pursue, and within the boundaries of reason. But right, just it's an amazing thing. So I just want to affirm to you that certainly with time, I think you'll see that you're definitely on the right track, and that your boy is going to grow up to be a wonderful man in all kinds of respects, I'm sure. And I mean, with a father like Vadim and a mother like yourself, I mean, I think it's going to be great. And
I'm not
so,
still, I'm not ideal. I may shout at my kids. I may feel that
yeah,
I don't want to see them anymore. I sometimes I blow up. That also happens.
but
Sometimes they
that's
drive me
life.
crazy.
That's life. But it's like, I'm sure they still understand you and love you, and there isn't,
No,
it's not
sure
an
it is.
abusive relationship, right? It's
No,
not
no, no,
like
no.
yeah, right. Like, oh yeah, mom was mad, but right, but I get it, and I still love mom and all these things, you know. Yeah. And
I hope
so
they
thank you
will
for,
be different. Yeah, so we'll see. Let's meet in 20 years
oh,
somehow.
we'll be in touch, I'm sure. I'm sure.
So definitely,
So
one
thank you,
just if we compare the system, yes,
please.
compare, we know where how it will be if we come back to the system, to the city. And as Anastasia
Right.
asked Vladimir, are there any, are kids happy in this system? And the obvious answer actually no. Of course, there are some happy kids that are, oh, mommy, they can't wait to go to the kindergarten. There are the cases, yes, when they feel totally okay, but the majority still. And if I remember my
Yeah.
childhood, I don't remember anything about kindergarten. So any happy moment, just like blur. The same for school. Okay, my school was okay, but nothing like, no, it just was okay. Okay.
Exceptionally joyful or
No,
something,
yes,
right?
something like that. All my positive experience, all this like joyful happiness came from these summer moments when my parents took me to my grandparents to
Mm,
this garden, and where we for 3 months in summer, these summer holidays, we spent, we did what we could, and that's I still I remember those moments, not moments from school. So I'm still trying to like, if we are not analyzing, yeah, we know what the system will give them and how they will be happy, not healthy, not, mostly no, they're unlikely. Okay, so mostly not. But when I think about what we can give, okay, that's not a system, actually the lack of a system at all, but at least the outcomes might be okay. Maybe we are
yeah.
not right again, but it's still there is a chance that it might be, even it's like 1% better than normal school, the normal speed. It's even this 1% that may grant them something in their life. And it's just the possibility of something, just a hope for a better life, because the system, we know what it will give to children.
Right.
Yes, there are some pluses and advantages, of course, but I doubt that these advantages will outweigh my advantages, all this freedom and health, what I can grant to kids.
Right. And it's there's so many things that can't be measured that the children can gain from being outside of the system, like confidence in themselves and being able to determine their own direction in life. Like, I was a kid who really, I was unable to be controlled or have anybody's will imposed upon me as a young kid, and I never accepted anything that couldn't be explained to me reasonably, or I did not just submit to other people's will blindly. I never really took that as how I was going to be treated at any age. And you kind of have to fight really hard to maintain your independence. But I remember meeting a lot of, like, as I was a teenager and young man and all these things, meeting people, and they'd say, like, you seem so sure of yourself, like you seem like you know where you're going. All these, like, kids who are in college or kids who are in high school, they're like, you seem so sure of yourself, you seem like you know where you're going. I wish I knew where I was going like you did. And I'm like, I don't know what to say, but I just took a lot of time to be alone and determine who I was and what I wanted to do and go in that direction and set a mission for myself. And it's like, if you don't have time to think and freedom to be with yourself and determine these things, it's like someone else tries to determine it for you. And that's a giant blessing. And it's like, that is so important, because it doesn't matter about, you know, this kid is great at math. Anyone could be great at math if they applied themselves, right? Some people have a natural instinct to pick up things quicker. But if you really wanted to be good at math, you could be amazing at math if you wanted, right? And it's if you put in the effort. And like, what's more important is the fact that like you have just this willingness and energy to put into things, and to, you know, I told my wife earlier, we were talking like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, right? And what am I saying is that like the kids, I how I see it, who grow up on domains or have this kind of level of freedom, can put in their energy in a direction that they want to go, and they can reach whatever success that they want to reach, however they measure it. And who, you know, who cares? Like their potential, the limiters have been removed from their potential, right? And so now there's just a waiting game to see how it kind of pans out, right? Maybe this sounds a little idealistic, but at least philosophically, that's how I think about it. And it's very interesting to hear about your experiences with it. And one thing I wanted to ask you about, and you showed this in your last video, Galina, was your book of kin. You had your book of kin right there, and you were telling people to not forget to write in their book of kin. And it's something that I really appreciate that you brought up, because like we discussed a little bit before this call, some people forget about that. And, you know, there's so many ideas in life and we forget about things. And I would love for you to share a little bit about your experience, about why you think it's important, what it's been like to write in your book of kin, and kind of remind the people about this idea, because it's an incredible thing.
That might be a surprise, but actually we have two books of kin, a female version that I'm writing, and Vadim's version, like a male version. I don't know how, but he started this tradition kind of. Now I feel now it's okay, but for me, but firstly it was, I always thought it should be one book, but they decided it to have like two, and he thought, okay, just if you have two books, okay, we have now two kids, one maybe will be in your belong to the son, one might belong to the daughter, and okay, what's the third and the fourth? No, okay, maybe we'll write something else. No, okay, first of all, okay, you may okay, accept it, yes, two books of kin. And now it's no, just it's very interesting for me to read how he explains things. He's more into, no, you know, man, yes, the outside world, what's going, like he wrote also about this Ukraine Russia thing. He's more into politics, like explaining that motherland and something like that. What his book of kin is more like for external, like what was built, renovated, planted. My book of kin is more like about female things, like feeling, what's going on, how we feel about it, like our perception of things. So these are two books about the same things, but from two different perspectives. I don't know how our generations will, what they will think about it, but this is how it goes, and it really helps you to reflect a lot. And I believe that people are afraid of, that's a typical fear of the first sentence, like what I'm especially taking into account that like the generations will read it, what you have written. Okay, yes, they will. So sometimes I may write even silly things, maybe I think, but they should know that there is stuff, there is important stuff, but it should begin like about the balance. Something should be funny and something serious, maybe. Although generally, it's, of course, we are talking about some important events, and it's really like it's also important to include no, like we may for it's interesting just for my husband that for him this important event that is worth mentioning in the Book of Kin. In my vision, maybe it's not really so important. I'd better write about the harvest that we got this year. And so it would be quite nice maybe for next generations to compile just to see how it works together. And I enjoy reading because my Vadim's mother wrote there, and interestingly enough, I don't know how it will work out, but Vadim's first wife also wrote there, so it will be for generation that like, yes, there was the situation, then there was the first wife, and then appeared Galina somehow wrote there. Maybe they should know this truth as well, so that it might happen in your life that we are not. I hope that it will change and it will be like.
It doesn't go that way, yeah.
Yes, it doesn't go that way. But as a part of a history, yes, now for generations, they will know about it. I like reading his book. I like reading my previous notes because we know the memories tend to fade away and they become vague, and this helps you to live through it again, experience the same emotions. So I need more or less, we need to maybe come back to this previous inspiration, or sometimes now it's even funny when I read my husband's book and he's, no, I need to do this, and it is still not done 5 years ago. Okay, he wrote it. No, things are changing, and it maybe become not really important. Just you thought it might be like, well, I must do it, but actually no. So basically I enjoy writing there, and guys just start like Vadim start. I am Vadim Karabinsky. I was born, like he started with his biography. I have a mother, I have a father, and to just describe the family. I started this way as well. So I mentioned my relatives, so like, you know, this family tree kind of like just the simplest, the basic thing. And maybe then because I would love, for example, if I imagine that I could have a book that my grandmom wrote about her parents or about her grandpa, that would be really nice. I don't know why, but I love talking. I'd love to know who they were, what they thought, how they thought about, like, I'm writing about our daughter, who it will be the daughter, like we're expecting her. It would be nice to know that your parents wanted to have you, what they thought about you. As for Lubava, by the way, it's very interesting, but again, I'm sorry, Lubava, I'm sorry, that will be Ulyana, we have already chosen the name. My Vadim always expected a boy. Okay, that's a man wants to have a son. And he wrote in the Book of Kin, okay, we're expecting a son, my dear son, like la la la, you will be this and that. And then, oops, a daughter. Okay, so next time he again wrote, it will be a son, my dear son, blah, 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 and it will be a baby girl. So again, a daughter. Again, oops. I I told
Wow.
him, Vadim, you need to change your vision. You need to start writing about the daughter, your next daughter. And maybe you'll be lucky again like this. Oopsie. And you'll have a son.
Maybe it's gonna be a boy.
Yeah. I don't know what my girls will think about it when they I just I always was quite like it could be a boy, it could be a girl. Although I made ultrasound, so I knew the sex of the baby, but Vadim didn't want to know. So he told me not to tell him. So okay, but in his kin's book of kin, he wrote about the son. So maybe a lesson to our generations that maybe you shouldn't be so focused on something. Again, the universe might know better what you need. But he's totally in love
Maybe.
with the daughter, so he says, "No, I don't care. Like the second it will be even better." He enjoys it very much.
That's beautiful. And as you talk about this makes me think how Anastasia taught Vladimir how to write. And she explains to him that the soul of the person will dictate the order of the words on the page, and then the person reading will feel the soul of the person who wrote it. And that's when I first read that, it completely changed my view on all my communication ever after that, because it just, I was like, oh, okay, I can get out of my mind and go into my soul, feel deeply myself, and just write from this space and convey my actual feelings to people. And I've written a little bit in my book of kin. I need to get a better one, kind of like the one that you have, that I feel more confident in its durability
Oh
and
yeah.
its capacity for pages. But I will probably take what I've written and put it in that one. And it's, if anyone listening hasn't done it, I would highly suggest you go out and find a durable book and start, because it's like, when I felt, what is it that I want to say to my
Yeah.
descendants, it's so powerful. And it's like I
Yeah.
spoke in a way that was so different from how I normally would speak. And I just I and it was interesting. I was thinking about what Anastasia had talked about in the books, of like, our descendants in the future aren't going to fully understand how crazy our world was when we were alive. And I started kind of like explaining some of these things, like, I live in this crazy time that you may find, hard to believe, or but we're doing our best to create this life, and here's where we're trying to go, and this is who I am, and this is what I'm trying to do. And like you said, like, what if we could read a book like that our grandmother wrote, or our grandfather wrote? Like, how powerful and inspiring, like, would that be? And it's an amazing thing, this idea of the book of kin. Anastasia has really brought back such a powerful thing. So anyway, I really wanted to bring that up for our listeners, because it's something that, out of all the things, it's 10 books, right? It's probably easy to forget about this. So thank you for sharing about that. And I know that we're getting close to probably the 2 hour mark, and I want to be respectful of your time.
Nobody
I,
will
I I
ever
wanted to
listen to
talk.
2 hours. It's too
Oh,
long.
Galina, you'll be very surprised. People will listen to this entire thing. They're gonna listen, certainly.
Okay,
And
if you
more people
listen
will
up to
listen in
two
the future.
hours, let us know, whatever these bloggers say. Let us know in the comments who listened to the end. No, it's just
Comment below who's two
yeah.
hours in. And I mean, our YouTube channel, I think, will probably get a lot more views in the future, because we're going to be publishing the Ringing Cedars books in English. And so I think a lot more people will be coming to our channel after that happens. And so I wanted to ask you one last thing, and I know we talked a little bit about it. Can you share with the people, I want to hear more about like your successes and the beautiful things that have kind of happened in your life on your domain, because I feel like until we really experience it, like Anastasia talked about, for example, the wedding, right? And she said the wedding ceremony, and she's like, no one can really understand the feelings that goes through a person in that moment unless you're there in that moment, right? And I just want to hear more about some of your beautiful aspects of life, or um, things that you would consider successful or positive, and these kinds of things.
Talking about the ceremony.
You guys actually did the wedding ceremony, didn't you? I think Vadim talked about it a little bit.
Yes,
Or
yes, we
maybe
did
I'm
it.
wrong. Yeah. Right. I forgot about that.
You know, I don't want to misguide anybody, because I did it, we did it in according to the books and according to how I felt it should be. So I'm not really quite sure that I should share it, and I don't.
If you don't feel like it, that's totally fine. No problem.
The only thing I can mention here, maybe one day I'll talk about it. But just the only one thing, when again, miracles happen, and when I arrived to Vadim's king's domain, yes, I had my own personal ritual. Maybe something similar what Anastasia described when she kind of engaged herself. If you remember what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
she did her own wedding ceremony by herself.
Yes, I felt that I needed kind of something like that, so I incorporated something. No, okay, I don't want to go into detail, but I wanted to. I felt that I needed, and I went to like a place that just and I just asked a question. It was night, a starry night as it should be. I just asked a question whether I should be here, kind of belong. I don't remember exactly the question, but I was waiting for really a sign. Just if you really just need me, if do I really belong here? You know, there's all these questions. And there was the falling star in the sky.
Wow. Right
Yeah,
in that moment, huh?
right in that moment, I asked the question, and
That's amazing.
I was waiting. I really asked for maybe it just, I'm not kidding. It was for real. There was and I
Yeah.
was like, I was in awe, like, oh, is it really with me? Like,
Yeah, I bet.
and I thought, okay, now I believe.
Wow.
It was really like that. So, and I thought, now, yes, Vadim, I don't know what you're going to do with me, but I'm gonna stay here. Maybe you're still, but they told me again that you're
Right.
here. So it's amazing, but yeah, really, I'm not lying or anything. I'm not just pretending. It was really like that.
Yeah, I believe you. I'm
Maybe
sure our
that's
listeners will
why
believe.
maybe that's why the Anastasia wrote, just if you come back to rituals, there should be clear sky. That's where she mentions the sky should be clear, so you should see the stars. And first, I believe, just to communicate, no, because we are connected,
Right.
yes, to so
Yep.
we should be able to see them, and also they will see ours. But maybe also for these mysterious things, for kind of signs to show you. That's what really, I don't know, still can't believe, but it was. talking about these rituals. What honestly, when me and Vadim we had the wedding ceremony, we were just laughing. No, I don't know. We're just silly, romantic people. And if you remember, then you should. It is with water. You should be kind of naked and then spend some nights together under the sky. And it was winter. It was cold. We were like freezing, laughing at the same time. I cannot say that we really, maybe it looked so, I don't know, a momentous ceremony. Didn't look like a ceremony. We were just having fun, honestly. Although totally we were serious that, okay, we need this for this and that, but we just, I don't know, it was like that. We are still making fun and jokes, like just that was the way we did it. We had fun.
I remember during the event in August when Vadim was speaking, somehow the topic of the wedding rite came up, and he said that it was one of the most powerful, if not like the most powerful experience of his life. I remember he almost didn't even want to express it because he felt that it was so kind of sacred to him. And that was really, really moving. You know, even you describe it as like having fun, but it's like it's pure, real joy, right? Like this real pure joy that it sounds like. And anyway, I remember hearing him speak, and I was really moved by how powerful the experience had been for him.
For me, the most powerful experience that really shocked me, that was this falling star, where I was like,
yeah.
And nothing, honestly, nothing else could impress me more, because already at this moment, I got it. I understood everything. I follow the way. Yes.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, right.
I am on duty. How?
Right. You got the order. Right.
Yeah.
I see. Well, Galina, I understand it is getting close to like 1 o'clock in the morning at your time. And so
yes, somehow I don't know how we did it.
The time flies when you're having fun, they say.
Yeah, really, it flies.
Yeah. And I want to ask you before we close it out, is if there's anything else that you might want to share with our listeners or anything. I'm sorry, it's
just Vadim is looking at me like I'm going to.
I know.
I promise. Okay.
Okay. Well, anyway, maybe it's time to go. Anyway, please send my greetings to Vadim. And I want to say I'm very grateful for you taking the time. Oh no, it's okay. All right.
I'm sorry. I have Zoom. It's blurry.
He's blurry, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi. Thank you. Yeah.
So good night or good morning, good afternoon for everybody. Thank you for listening up to 2 hours. You're crazy, really.
No, this is interesting. This is what people want to know about. So thank you, Galina. I'm sure we'll be in touch soon. And thank you for your time.
Thank you for joining me. I had a lot of fun, and it was such a pleasant talk.
Thank you.
So see you.
All right.
Goodbye.
All right. Bye, everybody.